The iconic Black Pyramid on the Las Vegas Strip was supposed to rival Disney World. Instead, it became known for something else entirely. Former security staff says the Luxor has higher incident rates than any other MGM-owned resort. Las Vegas Metro officers who work there say the same thing, not petty crime, not guest complaints, something specific to the pyramid. And what those incidents have in common tells you why MGM can't fix the Luxor, no matter how much money they spend. The incidents started happening almost immediately after opening, but to understand why they keep happening and why the architecture itself creates the problem, you need to go back to October 1993. Back to the night. 10,000 people flooded through the doors at 4 in the morning to see something nobody had ever built before. The Luxor was not just a hotel shaped like a pyramid. It was a perfect pyramid, 30 stories tall, with exact 39-degree angles on every face. 11,000 tons of black glass forming the exterior. A sphinx out front that stood 10 stories high, 40 feet taller than the original in Egypt. And at the apex, a light beam shooting into space with 42.3 billion candle power. Pilots reported seeing it from 275 miles away. Astronauts photographed it from orbit. Circus Enterprises spent $375 million building it. Their CEO, William Bennett, had a vision that Vegas could be more than casinos and showgirls. It could be education, it could be culture. It could be a place where families came to experience something they would never forget. He hired Egyptologists to verify the authenticity of every artifact. He sent his interior designer Charles Silverman to Egypt 3 times to study the atmosphere and the light. He recreated King Tut's tomb with artifacts authorized by the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities. Only 2 such authorizations had ever been granted. Inside the pyramid, guests walked through the largest atrium in the world. 29 million cubic feet of open space with no support columns, just emptiness rising 30 stories to the apex. You could fit 9 Boeing 747s stacked inside it. The casino floor spread across 120,000 square feet below. Hieroglyphics covered every column. Talking mechanical camels greeted guests. An indoor Nile River flowed through the property, a quarter-mile of artificial waterways where guests rode boats past replicas of ancient temples. The engineering required to make it functional was unprecedented. Traditional hotels have elevators that run vertically. The Luxor could not. The pyramid shape meant no vertical shafts, so architect Veldon Simpson designed inclinators, elevators that traveled at 39-degree angles up the corners of the pyramid. 4 of them, 1 in each corner, climbing the slanted glass exterior. Popular Mechanics later listed them as one of the 18 strangest elevators in the world. The rooms presented another problem. You cannot build rectangular rooms inside a pyramid. The walls slant inward. So, Simpson created 2 types. Standard rectangular rooms in the tower wings attached to the pyramid, and pyramid rooms built into the slanted walls where nothing was square. The bathroom doors opened at odd angles. The TVs sat crooked to the bed. Walking from one side of the room to the other felt disorienting. But on opening night, none of that mattered. The Luxor was magic. For $79 a night, regular families could stay inside an actual pyramid. They could see King Tut's tomb, ride the Nile, watch movies on a 7-story IMAX screen. The occupancy rates hit 95% within months. Circus stock soared. Bennett started planning expansions, then people started noticing something strange about that massive empty space rising above the casino floor. That space was supposed to be the centerpiece, the architectural marvel that made everything else possible. But within months of opening, hotel security started filing reports that other Vegas properties did not see. Not about theft or drunk guests, about something else entirely. The first incidents happened during construction. Multiple workers died building the pyramid. The exact number remains disputed because Circus never released official figures. Some estimates say 3, others say 7. Former contractors who worked the site say the number is higher. Falls from the upper floors, equipment accidents. 1 worker crushed when part of the frame collapsed. The deaths were not unusual for a project that size. What came after opening was different. Guests started jumping from the atrium balconies, not occasionally, regularly enough that security developed protocols for handling it. They would rope off the casino floor, cover the body quickly, move guests away from the area, get things back to normal as fast as possible. The balconies overlooked the entire atrium from 30 stories up. Every room had direct access to them, and something about standing there looking down into that massive empty space affected people. Former security staff describe it the same way. The atrium creates a pull, not a physical pull, a psychological one. You stand at the railing on the 26th floor and look down at the casino floor far below. The distance does something to your perception. The openness, the void, the sense that you could just step over and fall through all that empty space. Several survivors of suicide attempts described feeling drawn to it, compelled by it, as if the atrium itself was calling them. In 1997, a 16-year-old girl named Sarah Gruber was found strangled in her hotel room. In 2007, a casino worker named Wilibaldo Dorantes Antonio was killed by a homemade pipe bomb in the parking garage. In 2010, a former UNLV football player was beaten to death trying to break up a fight in the casino. In 2012, 3 separate deaths occurred. A casino employee murdered in the lobby, a guest who died from Legionnaire's disease contracted in the hotel, an airman from Nellis Air Force Base who fell 25 feet down an empty elevator shaft during an altercation. The tragedies mounted. Staff started calling it the Cursed Pyramid. Guests whispered about dark energy, about the building being shaped like a tomb, about disturbing the spirits of ancient Egypt. But the real problem was not supernatural. It was architectural. The pyramid design created issues that traditional hotels never faced. The vast atrium meant sound traveled differently, echoed strangely, made distances hard to judge. The inward-facing rooms meant guests looked into the void instead of outside. The slanted walls created psychological disorientation. And those balconies, open and accessible from every floor, provided something most modern hotels deliberately avoid: easy access to a 30-story drop. Meanwhile, the business model was collapsing. The family-friendly attractions were not generating the revenue Circus had projected. The Secrets of the Luxor Pyramid attraction, designed by Douglas Trumbull and featuring cutting-edge visual effects, cost $50 million to build. Guests were not interested. The indoor Nile River required constant maintenance. The boats broke down weekly. Wait times exceeded 90 minutes. After 3 years, Circus drained it and shut it down permanently. Then in 1998, Steve Wynn opened the Bellagio across the Strip. Everything changed. The Bellagio was not themed. No pirates or pyramids or circus acts. It was European luxury. Art galleries with real Picassos. A hotel lobby with Dale Chihuly's glass ceiling sculpture that cost $10 million. Rooms starting at $200 a night instead of $79. A casino floor designed for high rollers, not families with kids running around looking for the next attraction, and the public loved it. Critics called it the most sophisticated resort in American history. High rollers who used to fly to Monaco started coming to Vegas instead. The Bellagio was not pretending to be Egypt or a pirate ship. It was unapologetically luxury. And within a year, every casino company in Vegas pivoted. The Luxor was suddenly competing in a game it was never designed to play. Families ate at buffets and played penny slots. They asked for comp rooms and brought kids who could not gamble. High rollers left $50,000 on the tables in a weekend. The math was brutal. Circus had built a resort for the wrong customer at the exact moment Vegas decided it did not want that customer anymore. The occupancy rates started dropping. 95% in 1996, 88% in 1999, 82% in 2001. The attractions that cost millions to develop were shut down one by one. The Secrets of the Luxor Pyramid attraction closed. The laser light show was banned by the FAA because of its proximity to the airport. The Nile River sat empty and abandoned. Glenn Schaefer, the Circus president, admitted the reality in 1996. "We are in the doldrums, and you just have to suck it up." It is entirely unpleasant. But no one in the history of Las Vegas has built a property entirely from the inside out and then had to reposition it. They tried expanding. In 1997, Circus added two 22-story hotel towers, bringing the room count to over 4,400, but this only highlighted the fundamental problem. The pyramid itself was an awkward, inefficient use of space. The atrium created vast, unusable areas that served no functional purpose. Maintenance equipment sat in corners. Neglect spread through the empty zones. Then, September 11th happened. Americans stopped traveling. Vegas tourism dropped 20% overnight. Every casino on the Strip bled money. But the themed resorts got hit hardest because families canceled first. The Luxor's occupancy hit 68% by late 2001. Circus, already drowning in debt from building Mandalay Bay, started looking for a buyer. In 2005, MGM Grand acquired Mandalay Resort Group, which had merged with Circus for $7.9 billion. MGM now owned the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, Excalibur, and half the Strip. And they looked at the pyramid and saw a problem. Not a failing property. The Luxor generated revenue, but it was not premium revenue. It was $89 a night rooms and buffet customers and families asking for rollaway beds. MGM's portfolio was built on luxury. They owned the Bellagio, MGM Grand, and Mirage, premium properties for premium customers. The Luxor did not fit that model. Demolishing a 30-story pyramid was estimated to cost $200 million. The structure was reinforced steel and 11,000 tons of black glass. The asbestos remediation alone would take years. And for what? To build another luxury hotel on a site that already had a reputation for incidents and bad luck? MGM made a different choice. In 2007, they announced a $300 million renovation. The goal was shocking. Remove the Egyptian theme from the pyramid-shaped resort. Felix Rappaport, the Luxor president, stood in front of reporters and explained the strategy. We are not a British museum with ancient artifacts. We are a casino resort. This was a brilliantly conceived building from the outside. The pyramid always created a sense of wow and wonder, but the inside never delivered on that promise. What happened next was systematic. In June 2008, the King Tut Museum closed permanently. The artifacts were donated to the Las Vegas Natural History Museum. The talking camels were removed. Egyptian artwork was stripped from the walls. Hieroglyphics that covered every column for 15 years were painted over with generic beige. The papyrus design carpet was ripped out and replaced with standard commercial flooring. MGM spent 80% of what it originally cost to build the Luxor doing this, $300 million erasing Egypt. They renovated the rooms with neutral contemporary furniture, white walls, beige bedding, gray accents. The same generic look you would find at any mid-tier hotel chain. The pyramid rooms kept their awkward angles because you cannot change the structure. But everything that acknowledged you are sleeping in an Egyptian pyramid was removed. The contradiction was absurd. Whatever you do inside or however you try to market it, a former executive later admitted, it is a big black pyramid in the middle of the desert. The exterior screamed ancient Egypt. The Sphinx guarded the entrance. The pyramid shape was unmistakable, but step inside and you found a casino that could be anywhere in Vegas. Guests arrived expecting an immersive Egyptian experience. They found hand-me-down furniture from the Bellagio mixed with whatever cheap fixtures MGM could source. The theming was gone, but the architectural problems remained. The atrium created that psychological pull. The balconies were accessible from every floor. The tragedies continued. MGM had spent hundreds of millions solving the wrong problem. They thought the issue was theming, that families did not want Egypt anymore. That contemporary design would attract higher-paying guests, but the Luxor's fundamental flaw was not aesthetic. It was structural. The pyramid shape created inefficiencies and psychological effects that no amount of paint could fix. The room rates barely changed. After $300 million in renovations, the Luxor charged $89 a night on weekdays. MGM Grand across the street charged $149 for similar rooms. The location was wrong. South end of the Strip, too far from the action. The reputation was wrong. Budget property known for incidents. And the pyramid itself was wrong. Weird rooms with slanted walls that made people uncomfortable. In 2019, they added LED lights to the pyramid's exterior edges, a cosmetic update that cost millions and changed nothing. In 2022, a Discovering King Tut's tomb exhibit returned, a pale shadow of the original museum. It felt like a tourist trap, a desperate attempt to acknowledge what the building was supposed to be. MGM had created an identity crisis that persists today. The Luxor is not Egyptian anymore, but it remains shaped like a pyramid. It is not luxury, but it is not budget either. It is not family-friendly, but it is not designed for high rollers. It exists in a strange limbo between what it was built to be and what Vegas decided it needed to become, and the tragedies never stopped. Security files those reports. Las Vegas Metro responds to calls that other properties do not get. The atrium rises 30 stories with open balconies on every floor. Because you cannot renovate away an architectural flaw. You can only paint over it and hope nobody notices what remains underneath. So what is the Luxor now? What is its actual function in MGM's portfolio? It is overflow inventory. When Aria and Bellagio and MGM Grand fill up during conventions or fight weekends, MGM redirects bookings to the Luxor. Corporate groups too large for a single hotel get split. Executives at Aria, mid-level employees at MGM Grand, junior staff at Luxor. The Pyramid's 4,400 rooms are insurance, cheap backup capacity when the real hotels reach maximum occupancy. It is a loyalty point sink. MGM rewards members gamble at premium properties and accumulate points. Where do they redeem those points for free rooms? The Luxor. A free Luxor room costs MGM $35 to $45 in actual operating expenses. But they deduct $89 from the customer's account. The loyalty member thinks they got $89 in value. MGM paid $40. And because free rooms typically fill midweek slots when occupancy is already low, it costs them almost nothing. The hotel consistently operates at 75 to 80% occupancy. It generates positive revenue. It serves its function, just not the function it was built for. Every few years, demolition rumors surface. MGM is planning to implode the Luxor. The pyramid is coming down. It never happens. It will not happen. Because the economics do not support it, demolishing the pyramid would cost $200 to $250 million. The asbestos remediation would take years. And what would they build on that site? Another luxury hotel when they already own half the strip? A casino when the Luxor already functions as one? The harsh reality is the site is worth more with a functioning hotel on it, even a budget property with a reputation problem, than as an empty lot. But the rumors persist because people want it to end. Watching the Luxor exist in its current state feels like watching something die slowly. An implosion would at least be closure, a decision. Instead, we get limbo. The pyramid stands, the light shines, and every year it looks a little more tired. Talk to dealers who worked there in 1993 and they will tell you the same thing. We believed we were part of something special. Not just a job, but a mission. Make people feel like they stepped into ancient Egypt. Then we watched them strip every piece of Egypt out, paint over the hieroglyphics, drain the Nile. And we were told not to talk about what used to be. There, as if we could pretend it never existed, the Luxor will probably stand for another 30 years, maybe more. MGM will not demolish it because the math does not work. They will not invest in it because the location and structure limit returns. It will just keep operating. Keep filling rooms with convention overflow and budget tourists. The light will keep shining every night. $51 an hour in electricity costs. $500,000 a year. They have never turned it off. Not once. Because turning it off would mean admitting defeat. The pyramid that once promised to transport you to ancient Egypt now serves as a reminder of what happens when architecture creates problems that money cannot solve. The tragedies continue. Security files those reports. The atrium rises 30 stories with open balconies that create that psychological pull, and no amount of renovation will ever change that. Because you cannot fix what is built into the walls. The light shines.